You ready? All right. Well, we've just released the revisions to the plan that will include the consolidations that are tied to our turnaround plans as well as programmatic for consolidation as part of this phase of the plan. And I also just kind of want to reinforce, how we got here and, why this work is very much needed to be completed within Austin ISD. When we started on this work, 9 months ago, there were many things, and there continue to be many things putting pressure within the educational system here in Austin ISD. And you hear them all the time. There's declining enrollment, ever increasing cost of education. We talk often about wanting to have sustained programs and really be intentional about how we drive down our costs so that our dollars are going towards staff and programming, which is where they need to be. That's where our dollars need to be and where they need to go. And over the course of a period of time, we've gotten to a point where we just cannot ensure that every student in Austin ISD gets what they need to be academically successful. And we need to do something bold. We need to do something big to evolve to ensure that, as a system, we grow and we are in a healthy, vibrant school system for years to come. And so when we started this work, we had some objectives, right? We wanted to align feeder patterns in Austin ISD. I think I've said that many especially in East Austin, you cannot keep community consult programs as well as our um, as we prepare for the vote next week. The first is Riley. Language does include trustees in a work session to think and they're all like a Woodane Elementary School. So we're spending time and Rodriguez. Now we're a good opportunity to break the accountability assigning students who are in the neighborhood are prioritized in this process. It allows us to really maintain the emerging bilingual student population that we want to achieve, and also with the size of those schools have plenty of space to welcome those programs that are transitioning into those new schools. So a couple of things that I just want to speak to before we open it up for questions. I am someone who believes in community engagement and strongly believes that as hard as a conversation is, if we are honest and candid about what we're trying to do together, the solution will improve. And anytime we're exploring an idea, I share with our community that we are exploring an idea. And that certainly was the case for the last week and a half. We were exploring ideas about, Oak Springs potentially moving to Blackshear, and then at some future date, perhaps moving back to Oak Springs. Again, an idea that came out of the community. There's no decision that's not part of this recommendation to the Board of Trustees for approval. The recommendation for the board is merely around the turnaround plan, right? Moving Oak Springs to Blackshear. Where the community and where the school ultimately resides is still a part of the discussion with community. I've had 3 or 4 meetings in the last week alone to try to drive that conversation. I expect that it'll be resolved before the end of the semester, and then we'll take action at that point. The other is Martin, Mendez, ALC, and Garza. This is another idea that came out of the work session with our trustees. I communicated to those communities that we're going to be exploring different ideas. And I was being really responsive to things that I'd heard, including wanting to activate Martin and have AISD students be there sooner than later, right? If you go through a comprehensive planning process to re-envision a school, that could take 2 years. So I was trying to be responsive to that. I wanted to be responsive to the fact that we have lots of middle school students who would benefit greatly from a program similar to Garza. And so what would it look like if you expanded Garza? Certainly recognizing that the uniqueness of Garza, the cohort, the lack of cohort there allows us to maintain a specialized accountability kind of process that is very beneficial to those students. And so to work through that, it's going to take some time. And ALC, it's been temporarily located at Mendez. This is part of the construction of teacher housing and workforce housing in Iroquois. And so I wanted to find a home for ALC long term because we think there's a really great opportunity to improve the programming at ALC. We've been working with Dr. Green for the better part of a year. We can be doing better for those students, and I intend to do so. So I was really trying to find a solution that addressed all of that, and also recognizing that Mendez is going to come back to Austin ISD. The date is not certain yet, but that is our school. We want to welcome our students, and we want to be very intentional about having a strong program when we do welcome them. And so we were kind of looking at exploring all of that. We weren't able to really progress it too far, just acknowledging the complexity of all of those changes. So that work will continue, as well as all the work associated with boundary changes and balance enrollment tied to school consolidations. Just to be clear, because I've been asked this a lot of times, like that work is going to continue. It is not stopping. I am working with the board to identify a new timeline. This work is important. It needs to get done, and we cannot continue on. The amount of strain in the system and the pressure of this work is a lot, and it needs to end. So just wanted to share those updates and highlights, and really just before I open to questions, to say thank you to the Austin ISD community, thank you to our principals, thank you to the team, thank you to our students. It is a long process. I'm someone that believes in process. I'm very proud of the work, and I'm hopeful that we're able to take the vote and begin planning for transition, because it's all about transition planning. That's how we ensure success and implementation as we start the 26-27 school year. All right, floor is y'all's.
Could you talk about just future exploration? Just I think when parents of Maplewood, Bridlewoods, and Palms see that they're not on maybe the initial list that goes out, there still could be possibility of closure in the future.
Yes. So, we, like I've said, we analyze everything. And to analyze everything, it is truly resource intensive. It just is. You know, even the conversation I just shared with you all about, you know, exploring Garza, like it takes hours and hours and hours upon hours to really understand, you know, what a move could look like, how to support it. And so when you think about boundaries as a whole and the hundreds of boundary changes we were considering, as well as balanced enrollment, it takes time to analyze everything and do it well and ensure that we arrived at a solution that best represents the constraints that we're operating in, meets our objectives, but also incorporates community voice. And so, you know, it is not stopping. We are going to continue on. The way that I look at it is, you know, we're going to take like a half step back to make sure we're capturing everything, create a little bit of breathing room as we start the next part of this work. And bring it back in a fairly expedited manner. Our trustees have been very clear with me that they want to see this come back sooner than later. I am also very realistic and very honest with our trustees about, you know, what can be done and still maintain the quality of the deliverable that I expect. So it'll be picked up in short order. I don't have a precise timeline yet, but it's going to go relatively quickly. And we will modify the process, right, to ensure we capture all voice now that we, you know, kind of have this adjustment in timeline.
And just one follow-up. From the original plan to this one, have you all kept track of the number of students maybe impacted? Has that reduced from that original plan to what we have now?
Oh yeah, yeah. So one of the things that we'll state in the kind of the opening part of the report is just a number of students that are moving or reassigned as part of this work. I don't have it in front of me, or actually maybe I do, but we do state that it has come down just slightly. So in total, 3,796 students have been reassigned. And 6,300 seats have been eliminated under this portion of the plan. So it's less than what we would have otherwise, right? Because all those boundary changes didn't occur, and those consolidations didn't occur. So I do expect this number to grow, right, with that phase coming back online. But yeah, it was a little bit of a reduction. But we're still able to consolidate 10 of 13 schools, which represents over $20 million in reductions in cost. So not the complete you know, plan, but certainly a substantial portion of it.
You mentioned before there were concerns about the integrity of the process. Where does that internal investigation stand?
Yeah, it's being led by our Office of Professional Standards. Data collection is ongoing. You know, I really can't say more than that, but that it is progressing, and it's being led by Office of Professional Standards, overseen by our General Counsel's office.
Are there people on leave because of this?
Yes.
How many?
2.
What percentage of this plan release today would you say was a direct result of community feedback?
I can't hear you. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Why aren't they talking to me? Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Check 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check 1 2.